How capitalism reduced diversity to a brand. Now, obviously, I don't remember the title being like that. They might change that. It is fine. So ignore the, like, capitalism thing. Because it's like, you know, you can't... The thing is about all these news outlets, it's like, you can't really fool people with your whole anti-capitalist things when you are built on a capitalist model. Okay. I know there are some shittier, would you believe, online news or blogs, organizations out there that solely rely on donations to keep them afloat because they're just not profitable. Don't fool us with this whole anti-capitalism fucking bullshit. I'm getting really bored of it, especially with so many massive capitalist organizations who are run and owned and have shareholders who are uber capitalists. They only do this because it's buzzwords. I keep saying this. If you've ever looked into online marketing or anything like that, they'll tell you about social media presence and this whole thing about millennials love social issues and are very, very left-leaning and blah, 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 blah. This is just a way to hook them in to read your bullshit articles. Everyone knows that knows. And it's about time everyone else knew too. It's just a load of baloney. You don't want a socialist society. No one does, except idiots. And I don't think you're idiots. I don't think the people that own Vox are idiots. Maybe the people that write for Vox are idiots. But anyway, just to get that out of the way, that your silly title. But anyway, has reduced diversity to a brand. Now, diversity has been reduced to a brand. This is very interesting because it's on Vox and it's like, what? Because it's like, that's kind of a thing that you do, isn't it? But, So back in 2000, Diallo Shabazz was surprised to see himself on the cover of the University of Wisconsin admission booklet. But there he was, cheering in the stands at a football game he never attended, just behind a group of white students. Right? So employees in the marketing department had decided to Photoshop his face into the image. I mean, you got to take his word for it. Maybe he was there and he was just, he told his girlfriend he was somewhere else. We don't know. They thought it was a great way to project a diverse image to prospective students. The decision might seem innocuous to many, a clumsy but well-intentioned attempt by a university to promote for diversity, but according to Nancy Leong, a law professor at the University of Denver who focuses on civil rights and discrimination, it happens all the time, and it breeds even more racial resentment in society. Now, of course, we have to, but that's interesting. But then I don't know who this Nancy Bird is. She could be like a really dubious person. Who knows? Leong wrote a lengthy article in the Harvard Law Review in which she labeled this practice racial capitalism. All right, mate. The use of the non-white people by corporations and institutions to make money or boost their brand. Now, this is a thing because now diversity is all the fucking rage. It's all about diversity. You seen what they got for models now? They got fucking people with no arms and shit. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of fucking nonsense going on. Think of the controversial 2018 Super Bowl commercial in which the Dodge used Martin Luther King's speech to peddle. I remember that. Is quite funny. It was one of those uniquely late capitalist moments where an act of protest or racially progressive speech was reduced to a bland commercial prop. No, that's... No, you can't blame capitalism for that. That's consumerism, my friends. The only thing I'm not a big fan of consumerism, but capitalism is the boss. And it's the reason why most of you aren't starving to death covered in your own shit. So be fucking grateful, would you? I reached out along to talk about how racial capitalism exploits non-white people and why she believes the practice is bad for both individuals and society as a whole. A lightly edited transcript of our conversation followed. Well, I'd hate to think that, online journalists be having edited transcript. What is racial capitalism? It's a term I made up, basically. That's what she should say. It's a term I made up. Because you did. You made it up. It's like Michael Jackson said he was the king of pop. Doesn't mean he's the king of pop. Doesn't mean racial capitalism is a real thing. It's a theory of yours. Let's remember this is her theory. It is the process of getting some sort of social economic benefit from someone else's racial identity. In the United States, this usually, though not always, involves white people benefiting from non-white racial identity. Well, isn't it? Yeah, but this goes on all the time. Like this, you see this with like white people going on about black rights and having a go at other white people and saying you're so fucking what. Like this shit goes up. Like that's the same, isn't it? It's the same sort of vibes. This is because white people in the US are more likely to have the power and the resources to use another person's identity to benefit themselves. Now there you're going off into sort of conspiratorial loony la la land there, dear. Now Sean Illing, can you give me? Oh, sorry, that's right. So it's Sean Illing's doing a common example of racial capitalism. I really hate that term. It's really annoying me. Is a school or a company intentionally putting photos of people of color on its website to inflate its appearance of diversity? See, this is a weird thing to say. It's like there's so many quotas and so much talk. Like it's gone crazy about how places aren't diverse enough. There's not enough of these people. There's too many. It's like there's not enough black people. There's too many Asians. There's too many whites. It's like it's fucking. It's like. Right, so how do you want to encourage them to come there? And I've read articles, people going on, oh, I can't stand, it's really bad. There's too many white people at this university and stuff. Like, and it's like, well, yeah, like, UK is like 86% white. There's a lot of us. It's like, not everywhere is like the inner city where it's really mixed. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, so they want to encourage more people. How do you encourage more people? By saying you're welcome here. So it's kind of like it's like isn't this what you want? Isn't this what people wanted? So what other tactics do you want them? Like I don't get it. It's like it's not that egregious. I swear when I first read this, I thought this was more interesting than it is. Well, I've started, so I might as well finish. Racial capitalism, I'm just going to call it bullshit, could be something as simple as claiming that you can't be racist because you have a black friend. This is your theory. This is a lawyer saying this. Like, oh, I got a black friend, I'm not racist. It's like, what the fuck? You mean serious saying that? What? Oh, you've lost me. Or including a token minority character in a movie. Racial capitalism is saying that you have a black friend and you're not racist, you have a black friend. That's racial capitalism, isn't it? What the fuck are you going on? You're nuts, bitch. She's a lawyer. Like, you're a lawyer. Doesn't it worry you that people can become lawyers? This is not concerning. The first time I remember meeting like one of the dumbest girls I ever met, like, and she went to a university somewhere in the home counties. That's about as much as I say. I remember just meeting her. She was normal. She was like just yap, and I thought, God, this girl, it really is quite dim. Turned out, she was like her third year of doing a law degree, and after that, I was like, shit. Oh shit! These people keep us out of jail and put us in jail. Oh shit! And here's another great example. So, or it could be something like quoting Martin Luther King Jr. on Twitter when you've recently been accused of white supremacist views. This has descended into bullshit. I don't remember reading this, but I definitely scanned this way too much. I thought this more. How is that racial? This is just annoying me now. I thought there was interesting points to be made, like, United Colours of Benetton sort of thing. This is fucking lunacy. How is that capitalism? To quote Martin Luther King, after you've been accused of white supremacy. And everyone gets accused of white supremacy, but the point is, it's like, how is that racial capitalism? I don't get it. I don't think she knows what capitalism is. Racial capitalism is very common, and it's often done by well-intentioned people who are completely unaware they're doing it. It's because they don't know it exists, because you made it up. Too frequently, racial capitalism is all show and no substance. Now, here's a good point, I think. I'm hoping we're getting to a good point. We have a big problem with race relations in America. Racial capitalism doesn't help, and it sometimes makes things worse. Worse? How? I don't know, because you have nutters like me flapping their gums. That's what I'd say. Just make it up. People just make up stuff now. It's great, isn't it? You gotta love that we live in a world where, like, people just make stuff up. Just off the top of their domes, just going, poof, oh, I just thought of something. Really? Yeah, now it's a thing, is it? Yeah. Totally. And you're one, you're one, you're one, you're one. Am I? Yeah. You're a cunt. Yeah, you're a cunt. You're all one that. Like, they just make it up. I've got this theory about... I've got many... You heard the theories I've been going on about? I've got loads of theories to go on about. I'm not going to fucking make it a thing. I'm not going to go around saying, no, this is actually real. This is how... It's just a fucking theory. I like coming up with theories. I like arguments. I like viewpoint. You know, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Because, like, somewhere you'll find the truth amongst it all. But I don't go around going, I've just made something up. That's what you do. Like, you're a fucking lunatic. They're all lunatics. Anyway. People kind of know when they're being showcased to benefit someone else. For example, a student of colour whose photo is plastered all over their school's website often resents the school for using them. It's very specific. But yeah, look, this sort of stuff happens in many different instances. You'll find that, like, you could go to English language schools across Asia, and they like white people from the West to be like their poster. They use them as their poster children. They do, because they don't care as long as you're white, because they think white people will speak the best English because of the English. Because most of the English people they've seen are white, and we speak English the fucking best on them. But that's the image they want to portray. So sometimes they employ teachers who ain't shit, but they're white. So well, you're white, come in, because it's just a stereotype. It's just like, yeah, and that's isn't that a similar thing? Just using someone for the colour of their skin because it benefits your end goal. These are all similar things. This is especially true if the student, sorry, I'm just backing it, perceives that school isn't actually doing anything substantive to improve race relations, like providing funding to bring speakers to campus or taking the initiative to recruit racially diverse faculty members. What are you going on about? So I'm trying to imagine all the possible motivations for racial capitalism. Yeah, well, aren't we all? Is it greed and cynicism? Is it about signaling, however disingenuously, a commitment to diversity? I think there are a lot of overlapping motivations. One is virtue signaling. Now we get to some real shit. Look at how inclusive and diversive this company is. Now that is a real thing. If you ever had something that fitted in... Because so far she hasn't said anything that's this racial capitalism. It was just nonsense going, quote Martin Luther King because someone called you a white supremacist is racial capitalism. It's like, no, you're just saying anything, aren't you? But no, now we're getting some real shit. Now, this is something I can be on board with. It's like, yeah, look at how inclusive and diversive this company is. Every company's doing now because they've been told by marketing experts this is how it's fucking done. Like I said, just go sign up for any like marketing course and get some free shit. Like, look at guides on how to like do social media marketing or how to boost your brand and stuff like that. And they always mention all these kind of things, social issues. Diversity is... I even looked at fucking... What is it? A place to submit fucking like short stories, horror short stories. And they went, we really want people from different backgrounds and diverse people from the trans community and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's everywhere. It's just a buzz. It's a buzz thing. It's all big marketing. It's all mainly down to marketing. A huge thing. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, this comes from lunatics coming out of universities. I mean, that is true as well. But when we're talking about this shit, yeah, loads of companies do this now. It's fucking cringy. It's really cringy. You know, they'll just shove someone in there, and the point is it is backfiring. Because now you got to a point now, because they've been called out for it so often. You'll see anything, and it's got any sort of diversity in it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like just someone just randomly pops up of some ethnic background, and they sort of look out of place. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but sometimes you just think it's like a pick a mix of fucking humanity. It's just like, oh, this one, and it just makes you think. Oh. You see people get roles and stuff, and there's a lot of sort of affirmative action things going, and they're choosing people over other people. There's lots of this sort of stuff going on, and it just does create resentment. And then and then that's how you get fucking bullshit, basically. You do see it, and it isn't healthy, and it's backfiring, and it pisses people off, and it causes divide. That's all it does, is cause division. Because people would just see stuff. They'll see someone and go, well, you're only there because of this. And the thing is, it's a bad thing to say. but you can be justified for saying it because it is going on. That is a thing that's happening. And that's a fucking problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. So this is good, you know. I can't be racist because my friend is black. Another is purely economic. Our movie will bring in a bigger audience if we cast this popular actor of colour, even in a small role. I don't even know what you'd be referring to. See, that's some... Alright, our movie will bring in a bigger audience if we cast this popular actor of colour. As if black people only go to watch black stuff? That's such a... What are you going on about? What is no... That's so stupid. That's such an American point. That's such an American thing to think. Like, any film that will be made out of America, or like, say, as American film set in another country, but they'll have to put someone American in it. Do you know what I mean? They make The Last Samurai. They got to have fucking Tom Cruise. They make fucking what's that Shogun Ronin? Was it The Last Ronin or what is it? Ninth Ronin? Whatever that thing is about, you know, about fucking samurai warriors, and it's got Keanu Reeves in it. And you know, they do all kinds of this shit. That's American shit. It's going, oh, we need to have this person to bring in these people. Like they put fucking Donnie Yen in Rogue One, thinking that the Chinese would all go to see Rogue One just because Donnie Yen has a small part in it. It's like, no. That's not... The Chinese don't give a fuck. They like explode... They're like exploding robots and big cars. Like, there's no Chinese people in any of the Fast and Furious films, and they make fucking billions because of China. But this is the American mindset where they're like going, oh, no, we gotta have someone from here to bring all those people in, because no Chinese people are gonna watch anything without Chinese people in it. It's like Crazy Rich Asians, bombs in China, like, well, I don't understand it. There was Chinese people in it. Why was it popular in China? They're Chinese and they're Chinese. Therefore, they must like each other. It's like, it's so fucking moronic. It's so American. It's just like, are you that fucking dumb? They just like stuff they like. Like, it's so like, America, man. You just got to sort yourselves out, ain't you, really? Right, I traced to a 1978 Supreme Court decision called University of California versus Baca. That decision upheld race-based affirmative action programs, but also said the only constitutional justification for affirmative action is promoting racial diversity. So ever since then, diversity has become a prominent part of our national conversation about race. Now there's something interesting. I remember there was some nuggets of interest in this. And if diversity is a good thing, that gives people a reason to engage in racial capitalism. And there you go, back to your theory on stuff. Of course, this is not to say that diversity is a bad thing, but the fact that the Supreme Court focused on it drew attention away from other important issues. For example, if the Supreme Court had instead held the past discrimination could justify affirmative action, what lawyers call the remedial rationale, then we as a country would be more likely to have a necessary and painful conversation about race that would include everything from slavery to Jim Crow to redlining to the discriminatory... That sentence is too long. I'm bored. This is basically capitalist enterprises reducing race to a brand in the same way they peddle lifestyles to target demographics. Yes, it's called marketing. Yes, it's called marketing. Have you heard of it? Yes, absolutely. I think you could go even further and say it's reducing diversity to a brand. This is one of the reasons. Now, this is something I agree with, that diversity is a brand. It is a branding thing. It's used constantly as a branding thing. All these social issues and stuff. Like, look at what happened to the Gillette advert. Why did it throw back in their face? Because it's so. There's the word I couldn't think of. Still. What is that word I can't think of? I'm losing my mind. It's so. It's so Raven. That's it. That's so Raven. That's what I meant to say. But it is. It's just people can see through the bullshit. Basically, they do that and they go, "We know what you're doing," and it's like it's pathetic. It's just pathetic. You're like, we know what you're doing. You're only doing it because that's what you think people want. It's not that you believe in it. You know, there's a huge lack of integrity behind it. So Yeah, so it treats racial identity and diversity like commodities, which gives the impression that they are just like anything else you could buy or sell. In what sense does whiteness carry inherent economic value in our culture? It's the default setting. Law professor Cheryl Harris has written a wonderful article about it called Whiteness as Property. Whiteness has value in almost every setting due to conscious and unconscious bias. Research shows that you are more likely to get a job interview if you have a white-sounding name. White-sounding people. I've seen something about this, and it was debunked. It was they twisted it a bit. It's not saying, it's just because you had I can't remember. I wish I could remember what they said about it. Yeah, but it was it was like debunked basically. That you'd get more. It was more like if you had a fucking ghetto as fuck name. What's the difference? Because you get white sounding. You get like there's like, I'm sure the same in America. Like in the UK, you get those white names that everyone sort of belittles. It's a class thing, really, more than a race thing. Listen to Kate Hopkins going, I don't know, people called Riley, or people called like this, or people called Chelsea, or people, there's a huge same thing. I think it's like common sounding names. I guess, without using their terminology, not mine. Like people who sound, those names that are not used by other types of people. Common names, that people that sound common as muck. Working class names, gutter names, whatever you want to call it. That's what they say. That it was more that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's more of a classist thing, definitely in the UK, and I think so in America. And it was debunked by this guy. I can't remember who it was. So research even shows that professors are more likely to respond to an identical email when they think it was sent by a white student. This is all. I'm pretty sure this is all that's been debunked as well. Like the data they use now. I've worked in like market research before, and like its data sets are so easy manipulated. Like, you can make anything seem like anything if you use the right points of contact, the right people. If you talk to the right people and use the right sort of method, it's something I got into. Anyway, let's carry on with this before I fucking bore you to death. Occasionally, it could happen in the other direction. You might see a group that is predominantly people of color, including some white people, to try to help give legitimacy to the group. White people are sometimes seen as more authoritative, even when they aren't, and that can be valuable to non-white people. And when did white people seem more authoritative than black people? What? What? You don't see the people of history. Like, what? That's so weird thing to say. Like, what? That's bullshit, man. What are you talking about? It's because of the way power is distributed in America. Oh, she's going down this whole... Well, you can tell this is a Vox thing, isn't it? The most powerful people in politics, business, education, entertainment, and so on tend to be white, although this is slowly changing. Well, because the demographics are changing, isn't it? Like, the same thing happened in the UK. Demographics are changing. It's just how it goes. I agree. What's this? All of this might seem counterintuitive to people since whiteness has always been such a reliable source of value and power in this country. I agree, and it mostly still is. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not interested about your shitty problems in America, to be honest, with your racial divide. You've exported it over here way too much anyway. White people who aren't usually pressured to do this, blah, blah, blah. All right, well... And how goes the white supremacists in Charlottesville? This is just something else. Alright. I guess I only skimmed down to the bits I thought were interesting, and the rest of it is just absolute fucking toss. What more do you expect from a Vox article, I suppose. But it is. Diversity, people of colour. I hate that term, people of colour. We're all people of colour, you idiots. Do you not have eyes? Ethnic minorities, as in Western ethnic minorities, because obviously in other parts of the world, and let's not forget, us in the West are in a little bubble that, the rest of the world is much more than us, and we are the fucking minorities. Let us not forget that. We do not run the world. The Western world doesn't run the rest of the world. I don't know where, It's only Americans that got that in their head where they think they fucking run the rest of the world. It's like, well, you don't. You just sort of meddle and stick your nose in. We fucking run the world, yeah? Us, the Italians, the French. I don't even get the French wrong. The Spanish. The Chinese. The Persian Empire. Fucking Muhammad's like Islamic. The original Islamic state that Muhammad was behind. Like, they run the fucking world. The Moors and shit. America ain't running shit. But, you know, you think you are, and, you know, you think the whole world should listen to everything you have to say, and the whole world should feel sorry for you, and all the problems that America has. Boo-hoo-hoo. Oh, poor America. Shall we send some money? Fuck Africa. America needs some money. Boo-hoo-hoo. Oh, there's white supremacists. Boo-hoo-hoo. Like, whatever America's problem is at the moment. Always got some problem apparently we've got to care about. It's like, oh, there's Mexicans here, boo hoo hoo. Like, Black Lives Matter, boo hoo hoo. Like, all this shit. There's just all this stuff that's exported from America. It's always like, oh my god, what is it now? What is your problem now? Oh my god, we've had one attack. We've had one attack on our soil. Right, we're coming into Second World War. Really? Oh, it took that, did it? We have literally bombed the shit out of. Yeah, but we got attacked once and we're pissed. Really? Fucking get one big terrorist attack, lose your fucking minds, and declare war on the whole of the Middle East. No, on a whole religion. One attack. Lose your minds. Be quite happily at the IRA up in the White House. You know. Fucking hell, man. Americans are crazy, man. Expecting us to talk about their problems. We don't care about your problems, and stop exporting your weird issues and your weird problems and your weird perceptions on the world to us. We got enough of our own shit to deal with. The rest of the world does not need your fucking loopy ideology spread across the world. It's worse than Islamic extremism, because it's boring. At least Islamic extremism has a bit of spice to it. I mean, at least that's proper lunacy, where you go, oh, they're crazy. This is just whiny, boring shit. So can you please just keep it to yourselves from now on, okay?